Good morning. It is morning or morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching this video. Hi, I'm Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and I'm going to get right to the questions so that I can try and make sure I get through them and not skip any. Thanks again, guys, for all your questions. I love you for that, and I know that with all the emails and the feedback, everybody's benefiting from it. So keep them coming. Okay, it says that I'm excited about that I found you on YouTube. Super. I'm glad you found me as well. She said, I am 23 months into my transition and I have been noticing that I have a ton of fairy knots on my ends in the back of my head. How do I get rid of them and how do you prevent them? I also remember you stating that wearing micro braids are not good. But what about wearing medium-sized braids or extensions that are bigger than micro braids? First, fairy knots come from pure and simple, guys. And I love you for this, but I have to say this. It comes from neglect. They come from neglect. If you neglect to give your hair what it needs every single day, you're going to get the fairy knots. I mean, it's just no way around it. I counsel a lot of women with natural hair, and this is a pretty big deal for a lot of ladies, but you have to dress your hair for bed. I have this kind of saying. I say, if with natural hair, if you don't stay on top of it, it will get on top of you and ride. And you'll start having problems. Fairy knots, one of those things that'll happen. Let me tell you what happens when you work with your natural hair. That hair, and I've said this over and over, let's just take this section and I'm just going to kind of turn it. That hair, when you lay down, that hair just crosses over back and forth. It webs, and your natural shedding comes down from the scalp. That's hair that should shed off. It mixes with the webbed hair when you start to detangle, because some people think, okay, detangling is a part of the process. When you start to detangle, then that's when you get them. Now, am I saying that you shouldn't detangle? If you have to, you have to. But what I say, don't create a tangle. There's no tangle to remove. So how do we prevent that? That means in our shampoo technique, we have to be careful to do that properly. No neglect there. On my website, on the natural hair page, I have techniques on shampooing. 2, in our conditioning technique, and in our dressing for bed, which is crucial. So many of you guys are still out there taking that fro and tying it down. Makes no sense, guys. I mean, this is like taking this big, puffy, beautiful ball of whatever, the kinky coils, and just pressing them into your head. Then you go to sleep and they just go back and forth. And so you create your webbing. So it's neglecting to dress your hair for bed. And sometimes neglect comes without because of lack of knowledge. So you're not empowered. But now you are. You have to dress the hair for bed. You have to smooth your leave-in conditioners, moisturizers, hydrate and lubricate your ends nightly. And then you have to just do a big twist. Now, so I will do like, and I still have relaxer on my hair. So I have to be careful because I'll lose those pieces of hair as the more dominant natural hair comes in. But you can do large, like my curly fro. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, boom. By the time my head hits the pillow, my hair is dressed for bed. Got to do it, guys. Now, braids, micro braids. What I stated was micro braids can be a little bit harsh on the follicle, causing traction breakage as well as alopecia because of the amount of stress that's put on the lip, that little pinhole the hair emerges from, of the follicle. It's too much stress. The larger braids are okay, but long as there's no tension on the hairline. The micro braids are fine, but you've got to be careful that when your braider, your braid technician, braids your hair, that she presses down and braids on, gives, push down. When I say press down, I mean take that hair and just give a little bit, loosen that up just a little bit, then braid while she has this looser hair right at the scalp so it doesn't pull. But when she pulls those tiny, tiny pieces, then it's a lot of stress on the follicle. And with length, the other thing is micro with a lot of length. I've seen that. It's horrible, horrible on the scalp, horrible on the follicle and on the hairline. So that's what I meant, just to clarify. Okay. All right, next question. Is rinsing the hair with water under the shower every day damaging the hair? Absolutely not, but it doesn't clean the hair. Okay, so co-washing, rinsing only, you're not cleaning. You're getting some of the topicals, what I call the immediate topicals off, but you're not cleaning it. So rinsing is not enough, but it definitely does not damage, but it's not cleaning. Next question. It's 3 questions. Okay, first one. Is it true that the hair grows faster in the summer than winter? No. What happens in the summer, our hair stays hydrated because most areas is warmer in the summer or humid. And so what happens, that moisture, even though it's a negative kind of moisture because it frizzes your hair, so it ruins your style, but it also, that humidity, that moisture we're speaking of, this little humidity, if you looked at humidity, it's kind of tiny, tiny little water particles in the air, and so it gives your hair some moisture. But anyways, it causes the hair to frizz, so it wreaks havoc on a style with many women, straight or relaxed hair. And then what happens is that moisture keeps you from dehydrating and drying out. So your hair actually stays more hydrated in the summer. In the winter months, the air is a lot drier, so you're a lot more dehydrated. So that's why people believe that. So you obtain more length. You're not growing any faster. Start watching your new growth line. That's not moving any faster, but you could obtain a little bit more length. Okay, next question. She said, is air drying a roller set healthier than sitting under dryer? Yes and no. Number one, if you have a really sopping wet head of hair, then if you let it air dry and it stays wet too long, then it could be a bad environment for just mold and things like that. But that's in extreme conditions. Air drying is healthier in that you are letting the hair naturally dry through as much indirect air or heat as possible. That's the most indirect you can have. So in that sense, it's good. But what I would recommend is sitting under the dryer for a few minutes just to get your scalp dry, but not drying out, and then air dry. Just give yourself, depending on your hair, and really I would say about 10 minutes, and then the rest dry natural. And you will do fine. So the hair will warm up so it'll dry faster. But overall, then the drying natural, of course, would be better. But those things that I mentioned will make it not better. But if you sit on a hair dryer, as long as you do the roller rotation that we spoke about, rolling the hair back when you're rolling it, twirling it forward when you're rotating it, just to let a little air underneath, loosen the rollers, in other words, and then secure your clip so that your form stays nice. So if you're rolling it forward, then you loosen it backward. If you're rolling it backward, you loosen it forward. So it's pretty cool. So that's another way to cut your dry time down in half. Okay, next question. Is there a healthier way to get relaxed hair straighter at the roots than roller setting than using heat? Well, there's rollers with the little pins, I say pins, they're little plastic picks, but you have to be careful because you can poke yourself in the head, or you can put that pick on too tight and it could cause a problem. So the wire rollers with the pick, if you turn those rollers, put the pick on, but make sure you slide a little end paper where the pick is going to rest, and make sure it's not poking into your scalp. Then that can straighten it out some. But I most definitely want you to embrace your hair. Have your 2 categories of hairstyles. I tell my patients this all the time. If you're going to wear a relaxer, you got to have 2 categories of hairstyles. Category 1, hairstyles that are great for straight. Everybody knows the straight who wears straight hair. You got week 1 through what I call week challenged. Because if you get in your relaxer every 6 weeks, then you want to, at week 5, you want to switch over to category 2, which is new growth styles. New growth styles are styles that match your new growth. So there's not a lot of tension put on your new growth. Curlier looks. Use a smaller roller. Do things like the twist braid sets. There's all kinds of things. We're going to have to do some of those in our salon life area. But those are things, 2 categories of styles. Straight styles, week 1 through week challenged, and which means when you normally would get your retouch, because you really shouldn't get relaxers any sooner than 10 to 12 weeks. You've got to have enough line for your technician or stylist will be able to see that line of difference where the new growth ends and the chemically treated hair begins. Because as we know, and I've spoke about this, overlapping causes overprocessing. So be careful. Okay, next question. Is using deep conditioner or rinse out conditioners that contain silicones such as, ooh, wow, she's got lists of stuff, good for the hair, or should it be used conditioners that are silicone free? Silicone is a little bit difficult to rinse. Your clarifiers, there are some benefits because it does give you shine. It helps with manageability sometimes, but I don't recommend them, as you know. I like conditioners with silicone as it provides a slip, detangles. This is one reason. You can use it, but you're going to have more of a challenge when you clarify. That's what I would say about silicones. Okay, now the next question, does the conditioner have to have a certain pH? I know that the shampoos should be 4.5 to 5.5. Not sure if the same with the conditioner. Same as it to be for the clarifying shampoo. But does pH matter with conditioner? That's the big question. Yes and no. You don't want your pH high, but most conditioners are going to be slightly acidic. So you're pretty much safe with the conditioners, but you definitely want to try to stay on the other side of the pH scale of 7. So if you're around 5 or 6, you're okay. But the main thing is whatever you're cleaning with is got to be at 4.5 to 5.5. Okay, I think that we have time for one more question. It says, I've read that hair on an average grows 1/4 to 1/2 an inch per month. I would like to know if it's possible to increase the rate of growth per month. If so, how? Well, it's all genetically linked. There's individuals who grow at 1/2 an inch every 4 weeks. There's some, and I have patients like this, who grow at 1 inch in 4 weeks. It depends. It's genetically linked. Can you increase it? No. You really can't. You can get your hair to grow at its normal rate. There's nothing in my research, and I'm open to hearing yours or open to hearing other research, folks out there who may have some different research. What happens when you take the supplements, it supports the function of your follicle. So if your follicle is not functioning as it should, it will give your follicle what it needs, your hair follicle, in its reproductive stage when it's trying to produce that hair and develop that hair. It will support it, but it's not going to make it grow faster than the body intended for it to grow. Okay? All right. That's it. I'm Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor. To God be the glory in Jesus. I am putting these questions in parts so that we won't have any of these technical difficulties I've been having. Thanks a lot. I love you guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.